dears. So nice to see you. So very nice to see you. Welcome to my little cottage. Oh, there are so many dear old friends. Lucy, darling, how are your beautiful chrysanthemums? Very well. Speechless, are you? Oh, Griselda, you must tell the vicar how much I enjoyed his sermon on Sunday.
Oh, for sure, if it's the vicar, I will.
Oh, yes, please. Dolly, I do hope the Colonel has recovered from his cough.
Not yet.
Oh, such a terrible thing to be stricken with cough. Oh, my dears, now I am sure that all of you would like to say hello to me, but since there are so many of you, why don't we take care of it all together? I shall count to 3, and on the count of 3, you shall shout out all at once, well, hello, my dear. My, oh my, don't you look lovely today. Are you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Hello, my dear. Don't you look lovely?
My dears, you really think so?
Yes.
You shall make an old lady blush. Well, down to business, shall we? Well, as all of you know, just 6 months ago, on August the 7th, 1957, our dear little village of St. Mary Mead was woefully beset by murder. Yes, and a horrible murder it was. Ah, will people never change? Here we are in these modern times, and the human animal is just as cruel and savage as it ever was. Well, my friends, I am delighted to tell you that at last this murder has been solved. And, as is sometimes the case, your dear little friend Miss Jane Marple had some slight opportunity of assisting in the investigation. And, now having all the information I did not have at the time, I am ready to tell the story. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Oh, good. Then do sit back and pour yourself a cup of tea. I find nothing goes quite so well with murder as a nice cup of tea. Well, where shall we begin? Of course, it was late in the night, and scattered here and there throughout the village were all of our story's important characters. My dear friends, I don't suppose you can guess just which 2 of these seemingly innocent people were meeting in secret that night. Just call out what they're wearing. Which ones?
Gentleman in the suit.
The gentleman in the suit and these 2. These 2 were meeting in secret that night. But, my friends, I don't suppose you can guess just where, anywhere in our village they were meeting.
Fish market.
The fish market.
Timothy,
Gertrude?
did anyone see you come in the back?
No, I wasn't followed.
Do you have it? Do you have the package for me?
Yes!
Did your wife see you leave with it?
No.
All right, we'll give it here.
Here it is.
My dear friends, can you guess what that package was? Drugs.
Now, I trust you'll accept that as payment.
Very well.
I've had quite enough of this blackmail, Gertrude.
Oh, but Timothy, blackmailing you is just my favorite pastime. Whatever will I do all day without blackmailing?
When we had that affair last summer, I thought it was because you developed feelings for me. Little did I know your intentions were as foul as the aroma in this market.
Oh, Timothy, how silly you were to be so naive, so young. But
yes,
it
well,
seems that I have everything I need from you.
and then, can I have the photos?
Not quite yet. I will see you the Saturday after next.
Gertrude, I have had it up to here with this. You better watch your step.
Is that a threat, Timothy?
No, Gertrude.
I don't take kindly to threats, Timothy.
It's a promise. If you keep dallying about, forcing me to meet you in secret in these most foul of places, well, you never know what might happen.
Oh, Elizabeth, I know I'm such a scatterbrain. Oh, do come in.
What is it, my darling?
Well,
Lovely home you have. New curtains?
yes, I just put them up yesterday, or I think I did.
An unusual shade of chartreuse, my dear. And lovely.
Well, let me just get to the point. It's my dear Timothy. I just don't understand him. He slips out at night, late, and I don't know what's going on.
But what could it possibly mean when a married man goes out at night and his wife doesn't know where he is? He must be having an affair.
Oh, don't say that. He couldn't possibly be cheating on me. Me, look at me.
Well, it's so true, but you know how those gentlemen are. They get so tired of the same thing over and over. Even if the same thing is filet mignon, sometimes they just want to go out for a hamburger.
Well, Elizabeth, are you saying I'm hamburger?
No, you're the filet mignon. Whoever he's having an affair with must be the hamburger.
Oh, Elizabeth, he can't possibly be having an affair on me.
You see, our dear Timothy's wife was suspecting something else. What else was she suspecting? Can you guess?
He was involved in competitive eating.
Our dear Timothy, she suspects, was involved in competitive eating.
You see, I mean to tell you this, it's not having an affair. He's been doing some competitive eating. Yes!
Well, that's even worse.
He's eating constantly. I can't keep him fed. I feed him everything. He's eating me out of house and home.
Maybe he really is going out for hamburger.
Oh, dear. Well, he does need to win the competition, but I just don't know how I'm going to keep him fed.
My darling, you could always come to my pantry.
Oh, well, that's a great idea. Let's go see what you have.
Honey, I'm home. Forgive me, I smell of fish.
Oh, have you been eating fish?
Yes, that's it, of course. I've been eating all different kinds of
I
fish.
need to go to my pantry.
Oh, Timothy, what is it?
It's halibut.
Oh, darling,
I brought you some.
thank you. Oh, Timothy, what is it? I'm busy. I was just going to run off to Elizabeth's and look at the pantry.
Oh, of course. Don't let me hold you. I just thought I'd swing by the house, and then I'm off to work.
Are you still doing that competition?
Yes.
Is that why you brought me that halibut?
Leftovers.
Timothy? Well, I'm going to have to go cook up some more food for you, and I just need you to help me a little bit and just stop eating as much.
Why? See, why does this trouble you so?
Timothy, we're running out of food. I have no money. Oh, well, smell. We're out of money. We're out of food. I have to borrow from the neighbors now.
Lucy, I've explained to you time and again. I'm a man with a dream to be the finest eater in St. Mary's Mead.
Well, I don't know why you need to go running off to eat at midnight.
Because the black market backdoor eating competitions, all the best ones, happen at night. Look, I'll not trouble you, but these events have a certain amount of wagering that takes place, and, well, they're not looked too kindly by the local constabulary. That's why they all occur at night.
Oh dear, are you in some sort of trouble?
No. Who said anything about trouble? Of course not.
Well, if you say that the constable has been around, then I fear there may be something more sinister.
Oh, it's all just a bit of fun. Just me and the boys, reliving our Oxford days when we used to go out and throw back 70 or 80 hot dogs.
Well, somehow when you look at me that way, I think you're lying.
Oh, you must believe me. I've just eaten a full 3 kilograms of fried fish.
All right. Well, then I'm going to go to Elizabeth. And just keep your mouth shut for a while.
Very well. I shall see you later.
Christopher, thank you very much for meeting me in your hall today, for I know that we have been best chums since grade school.
Well, anything that Geoffrey needs, Geoffrey gets. Now come, Geoffrey, sit down and make yourself comfortable. Would you like a cigar?
Christopher, please, before we get to the pleasantries, thank you very much. Oh, very nice. A rare vintage. Allow me to get to the point, Christopher. You see, I know that both of us have been seeking Elizabeth's eye. But I must tell you that I truly am in love with her. And I came to tell you that I do intend to ask her to marry me.
Geoffrey, you don't think for one moment that if you and I were engaged in a contest of any sort, that you would have any chance of being victorious, do you?
You see, this chummy relationship was all a farce. Their competition went all the way back to their university days. And in fact, Christopher lost something quite valuable to Geoffrey, and he was just throwing it in his face in this moment. Can you guess what that was? What did he lose?
A rowing medal.
A rowing medal.
Why, I tell you, I lost one thing to you, Geoffrey, that rowing medal. And ever since that day, I made it my mission in life to beat you at every turn.
Because you are jealous of me. You are jealous of my family, that I have come from the aristocracy. But I've always carried you, Christopher. You've always been my closest friend. Even when your family did not have means for clothing for school, I was the one that gave you my hand-me-downs.
Yes, but you see now from Withington Manor that I no longer need any hand-me-downs from you. I've gotten my own money now, don't I, Geoffrey?
Yes,
my
you do.
own fortune,
Yes.
don't I, Geoffrey?
Yes, you
and
do.
I made it from the hard work of these hands. I didn't inherit it from my papa like some had to.
Just because I inherited my money does not make me some sort of weak loser.
No, you're a weak loser nonetheless.
Well, when Elizabeth says yes to my proposal, we shall see.
Now see here, Geoffrey. You know that I've had a yearning for Elizabeth far longer than you have. Be a good chap. Oh, you know that if it ever really came down to it, I would have no chance against you. But I'm asking you, you who have had so much given to you, Geoffrey, and I who have had to struggle and scrape for every bit of silver in the house, please, Geoffrey, let me have this one thing.
I will offer only this. A gentleman's duel for her heart.
A duel?
Not a duel.
You said a duel.
Not a traditional duel, I mean. We shall duel with love. We shall duel with our seduction, our wooing her. And may the best man win.
Well then, the game is afoot.
Dr. Brown, I'm so glad that you would meet me at your office on a Sunday. It's really imperative. I need a sleeping drop, please. I'm having the most terrible time sleeping. That Gertrude, she's going to win the fish pie again. And I can't stand it. I can't stand it, I say. I must have the fish pie award this year. It's important that I have my place in the history of St. Mary Mead. Don't you agree? Would you please give me a sleeping draught?
Why, Catherine, of course I agree.
Oh.
But you have been taking these sleeping draughts far too often. I just wrote you a prescription, yesterday. You know, I'm a man of medicine and I know these things. Catherine, you're really here because you fancy me. Isn't that so? Or else you have a crippling addiction to sleeping medicine.
Oh, no, I'm not addicted. No, it's just a temporary state. And, of course I don't love you. Of course not. That would be improper. You're my doctor. You know so many...
Well, yes. No, that's true. Doctor-patient confidentiality.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. But perhaps if we were down at the local pub, randomly bumping in together, say 7 o'clock tonight?
A random bump would be nice.
Yes, then we just be 2 people randomly bumping in the night.
Yes.
I think that would be quite nice, Captain.
Oh, I'm so titillated. I shall
Oh,
see you soon.
Well, yes, I mean, of course, if it happens by chance.
And of course that sleeping draught. You will give it to me now.
Oh, of course, darling. No, I mean, Captain. Here you are. This one's extra strength.
Darling. Oh, Doctor.
Nurse Elizabeth.
Yes.
Were you able to get any more of those drugs from Dr. Brown's office? Thank you for meeting me in the garden, by the way.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, unfortunately, I was not quite able to get the particular drugs that you were interested in. I'm sorry, he started to get suspicious.
Oh, I need them. They're very special drugs. They're not for me.
What level of specialness can you guess those drugs hold? What do they do to those who take them? What's that? Crazy? Crazy.
You see, I've got a very dear uncle, and he's just terribly drab and boring.
Oh, hogwash!
He needs the pills to go crazy. Otherwise, he'll just sit there darning socks.
Well, this is most unusual. I mean, I've been stealing. If I get caught, I lose my job.
Miss Elizabeth, you are a true friend to both me and my wife. Please, I've paid you under the table.
Do what I can do.
Is this because you're worried about the side effects?
Side effects. So, not only do they make someone crazy, they also have these bizarre side effects. Can you guess what they are? Not just flatulence, extreme flatulence.
I admit it. Not only have I been stealing them from you, but I've been stealing them for myself.
Whoa!
And it's making me crazy.
Oh, I see. Good heavens, it's like a herd of elephants passing through. Nurse, I am in dire need of a new box of these pills by Saturday night. If I don't have them, well, let me just say that my wife may end up very unhappy. She is your best friend after all.
And she's...
And by that I mean to say that she's visiting my uncle, and she doesn't wish to be bored. I'll pay you double, triple, whatever it will take.
Well, if it's for Gertrude.
Yes.
Excuse me. It's not for
No, it's Gertrude.
Then I shall...
No, it's not. It's for Lucy. My wife, Lucy.
I think you're a
They're not for Gertrude. They're for my uncle.
Gertrude! I don't know why every time we meet, we have to meet out here in the middle of the night beneath this old street lamp on a deserted corner. Why can't we just simply meet at a nice restaurant or something?
I feel that this describes, who I am as a person more.
Gertrude, you have always been a loving sister to me, dear.
It's true.
And I hate to come to you in a time of need so often as I do. And yet, well, Gertrude, once again, I'm afraid I need your special talents for blackmail and general skullduggery.
Oh, darling, you know that's my favorite type of help to give you.
You see, it's Geoffrey.
Oh, wait, Geoffrey?
My dear friend Geoffrey.
Right, Geoffrey's like family.
Yes. But as you know, he and I have always been at loggerheads over one thing or another, and now it seems we have both set our sights on Elizabeth.
Elizabeth?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful Elizabeth. Why, I tell you, Gertrude, if I don't find my future wedded to hers, I don't know what I'd do. Now, Geoffrey, of course, wants to go at it like a fair fight and see which man she prefers. But I don't stand a chance.
Well, because she picked Geoffrey.
Yes, I know that. Please, Gertrude, you must do something to help me, using some of those special skills of yours to somehow knock Geoffrey out of the competition, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I think I have a couple of ideas.
Why, I tell you, Gertrude, I tell you, there are times when I look in his eyes and I see that smug smile on his face, and I swear sometimes I could kill him.
I swear sometimes I could kill him. Oh, such an ominous thought he shared with his sister. Well, my dears, it was shortly after those words were uttered that someone in our story breathed a final breath. But who do you think it was? My dear friends, it is up to you to guess which one of these poor innocent folks was found to be dead. I heard Lucy. Before Gertrude. Oh, poor Lucy. And her body was discovered like this.
Oh, Elizabeth, it was just dreadful. I had
What happened?
Well, I had gone out at midnight to one of my eating competitions, as I usually do.
Hamburger, I bet.
You're not one to talk about digestive health. After the competition, I arrived home at 3 a.m. I assumed I'd find my dear beloved Lucy asleep in bed.
And?
She wasn't there. So I searched around the house. I began to get very nervous. It was then I noticed the patio door leading to our garden was open. I wandered out there, and her body lay in front of the shed, racked in pain, an expression of horror on her face.
Oh, my dear Lucy!
I know. Oh, I'm undone, Elizabeth. I screamed for help, but it was too late.
And in fact, shortly after that, help was on the case. For you see, our dear St. Mary Mead's Detective Inspector Craddock was on the case.
Dr. Brown!
Yes?
Why, I notice in this photograph that you are examining a group of plague victims.
Yes, you see, some of the natives in India, shortly before the war, contracted the bubonic plague. It was quite a nasty affair.
You know, in all 15 years of my time as a police officer, I, Detective Inspector Craddock, have never seen something as ghastly as that. But second only to this case. Why, man, I can't believe that you were the one to inspect the body post-mortem.
Yes. Well, double duty, as it were, chin up. Sometimes you must look your old friends in the face and wish them off to death. You see that she was most clearly murdered. You could tell that she had signs of trauma on her fingernails, like she had been in a fight, fighting for her life. And just around her neck, there was markings of ligature, some sort of rope, perhaps, and around her wrists as well. But those had been taken away, and she looked like she had looked dead in the face of horror before she died. Terrible affair.
No one should have to see their friends go out that way.
I've seen many a terrible thing in the war, and this has really brought me low. I must admit. Is there anything else I can help you with, Detective Inspector?
Well, I would love...
Detective Inspector. Detective Inspector.
Yes, Fuddlesworth, right in here.
I thought I might find you in the doctor's office. It's important that I speak to you. I found something important in the body.
Inside the body you found something.
I believe you missed it.
I'd best go check my mortician's license, I suppose.
Stuffed down her throat was this hot dog.
Why? This is a Westminster 12-incher.
Precisely.
This is not just any dog. This dog is the one they used in clandestine eating competitions.
Exactly. And that competition is coming up. I also found something else peculiar.
Out with it, Fuddlesworth.
A bun. Stuffed down her knickers. Yes, her knickers. How did you miss that, Doctor?
Take that.
Is the bun wetted?
No, man. I simply wanted to smell because there's a particular bun used in those eating competitions, and this is such the case.
Seems that 1 and 1 is 2. Your murderer very clearly is involved in clandestine eating operations.
It appears that she had some contact with aquatic life. I will set this here.
It was halibut. I would know that smell anyway.
Fuddlesworth, I have a very important assignment for you. I know that you have quite an appetite yourself. Why, you've won the office chili cookout competition 9 years in a row.
My reputation precedes me, as of course.
I have always voted for you. It's outstanding.
Thank you. I would like you to infiltrate that competition.
Brilliant. So I'm going to go undercover.
Indeed you are.
Oh, I love it. I shall get ready for that. I shall return forthwith.
Elizabeth! My God. Thank you so much for coming into my home at such a late hour. Please have a seat. Would you care for some tea?
No, I couldn't eat or drink anything.
Very well, then I shall get right to it, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I have known you since we were children. We grew up together. Our families are mutual. And I must tell you, Elizabeth, upon hearing about Lucy's horrible demise, I cannot contain it in my heart anymore. Elizabeth, I'm in love with you, and I wish...
Please! No! Geoffrey, this is neither the time nor the place. I'm in mourning over my best friend.
This is the perfect time, then.
I cannot think of romance and love at this point. I'm deeply, deeply grieving.
You see, my friend Geoffrey knew that the best way to win over his dear beloved's heart was to sing her a song. Can you guess what the title of that song was? What is it?
Waltzing Matilda.
Walt and Matilda. Walt and Matilda.
Elizabeth, I have a little present for you. I brought a little medley to express my passion for you, my desire for you. You see, my mother and my father, Walt and Matilda, they are no longer with us here. So I wrote a song in their honor, as though I would sing to them my love about you. And it goes like this. When I first laid eyes on you, I could think of nobody else. Because you see, my dear, my love is true, and I must confess it soon. If I don't, then my family from heaven would strike down upon me. Because now that I am 30, I must marry you, and you, Walter Matilda, I'm going to propose to her.
Don't dance to him! Don't dance to him!
Christopher!
I was climbing up the wall the whole time and finally arrived at the lattice behind the garden box by the window. I was watching, I was listening, I heard his dulcet tones of Walt and Matilda. But I must interrupt, For don't you know that I love you too, Elizabeth, and I love you so much more than he ever could.
What is it about the men in St. Mary Mead who feel that the proposal is the appropriate response to death of one's best friend?
It is not about the men, it is about you, because I know I can provide for you a better life.
Elizabeth, it is exactly about the death of dear, dear Lucy that I originally came here to talk to you. You see, unlike this heartless clout, I have not been idle. I have spoken with Jane Marple. Surely you know dear Miss Marple.
Not personally, but my reputation. She's a wonderful, astute woman.
Oh, yes, and what many people don't realize is that she has the cleverest mind of all. In fact, she has worked with the police in several murders over the past number of years, and she has always been instrumental in finding out who the dastardly murderer was. Well, knowing that your dear heart was broken and anybody who cared about you would do something about it, I asked Miss Marple to come and investigate this crime for you.
You do understand. Oh, Christopher, thank you so much.
Oh, I understand so much more than that.
Oh, wow. You really understand a lot.
Oh, my goodness, I am dying from comprehension.
Well, Christopher, it seems that you are quite of a noble heart to put your love aside in order to help with Lucy's murder.
Yes, indeed I am.
As you can see that I know when to give praise when necessary. That makes me a far better man.
Please, I can only tell you that once this ghastly murder is solved, and once again your heart is free to think of lighter objects, I shall be there, and I shall win your love. For you should know right now that this man harbors a secret he is desperate to keep to himself.
Secrets make me gaseous.
Only more of you to love.
Let's go get Miss Marple off. Will she be coming?
I think we can go and find her. Come, my dear.
And it was at that moment that, you see, my dears, I had entered the store. Oh, Timothy.
Oh, Miss Marple, hello.
I was litten by your maid. I came to call upon you to see how you're faring. I'm so sorry for your loss.
You are too kind, Miss Marple. I, of course, am heartbroken.
Of course you are, your dear beloved, the woman you have loved. Well, since your childhood, is that not correct?
Yes. Oh, since our days, grade school.
Oh, and Lucy. Well, of course not poor Lucy. Lucy was, well, as we know, she was left quite a large endowment, which of course now passes to you.
Yes, yes. Oh, if there's one silver lining to come out of all of this, it's that, well, I am able to provide her a lavish funeral and a wonderful wake.
Oh, that would be quite, well, your duty as a loving husband.
Oh, but Miss Marple, I'm glad you're here because I'm not only heartbroken about my dearly departed wife, I'm also furious, for I feel that I might know who is involved.
Timothy, I thought I'd just drop by your house today. Miss Marple, I didn't realize you were here visiting.
Yes,
So lovely to see you.
How dare you step foot upon my stoop?
How dare you set foot upon my stoop? Oh, well, my dear friends, while lightning might not strike twice in the same place, murder most often does. And it was after those words were spoken that another poor soul in our story lost his or her life. But can you guess who it was? Can you guess, my dears? Just which one of these poor folks was found dead? Doctor, I heard, Dr. Brown. The poor sorry chap's body was discovered like this.
What is it?
Dear,
Calm down.
it's Dr. Brown sitting in the parlor, darling. Oh, my darling.
Dr. Brown? Oh, what is over the matter?
Well, he's such a sweetheart, and he was helping me with the laundry, and he was taking it off the line, and I came in, and I was going to get some baskets to take out for more of the laundry.
Sure.
And when I got back out there, he'd been strangled.
No!
By my trousers!
By your trousers?
Yes! They were wrapped around his neck as if some giant was coming upon him. And his face was purple and red, his tongue was sticking out. It was just horrible! Horrible!
Did you murder the doctor?
No, of course not!
They were your
The
trousers.
baskets, I'm in love with the doctor. I was in love with the doctor, and he was in love with me. Why would I murder him?
But they were your trousers.
Well, they were probably just available. I don't know why he used my trousers.
Okay, well,
Or it must have been he. No woman would do that. It was too grotesque.
Elizabeth! Thank you for meeting me in your garden. I shall dare to have some. I'm so sorry to hear not only your best friend, now your own boss. Oh, I didn't mean to upset you.
No, I cry easily these days.
Your stomach seems to be rumbling.
I'm taking medicine for my grief.
Now, I simply wanted to ask you a few questions. The night that Dr. Brown was found, where were you at 8 p.m.?
8 p.m. What day was it?
Just last Saturday.
Oh, last Saturday. Oh, yes. I was working at home. I was doing some reading on modern nursing and psychopharmacology.
I haven't had the chance to read that one.
Oh, I can lend it to you.
Certainly. Now, I understand that your home is right across from the doctor's and that you have a vantage point. But it was...
Are you asking if I saw him?
Yes.
Murdered?
In fact, it was at the home of one Catherine Longfellow that he was found, was it not?
That's what I have heard, yes. I don't know why you're asking me these questions.
Well, I have it on good authority that you were the last one to see the doctor alive.
Well, it's true that I did go into work on Saturday morning to pick up some files and neaten up around the storage room. But then I came home and Dr. Brown was not even there. He must have gone to work later after I left. Poor man, he was very dedicated to his work.
Elizabeth, I have a feeling that there's something that you're not telling me. Did you see the doctor? Was there perhaps a confrontation that occurred?
Well, one might call it a confrontation, but you see, I'm in love with Dr. Brown.
Well, you were.
But I still am, don't you understand? Just because he's dead does not mean my feelings have gone away. Yes, I met him that morning for a conjugal work visit.
Elizabeth, I'm very sorry to do this to you, but I'm going to need a brief history of your relations with the doctor.
Well, first we kiss, and then typically I will unbutton some buttons, and then he often will unzip. This is what you mean, correct?
No.
I mean, I can go further.
No, that is quite all right. I mean, the first moment where you laid eyes on the man and knew that we would become lovers if you could start there.
I was a young nurse, just had received my nursing cap, and he was the first person I went to interview with. He was so kind, those big brown eyes of his. And he sat me down, so kind, knowing I was a nervous, new neophile nurse. And he asked me a few questions. I sat on his lap, and he hugged me. And it was love. Immediately. Oh, God. I miss him so.
Why did you keep your relations secret? Why not come out with them?
Well, first of all, at the time he was married. Dare I say, he was married. I'm not proud of it.
To someone in the town, correct?
Yes, but she mysteriously disappeared. I believe they were divorced. And it just never came out that we were still not.
Detective Inspector! Detective Inspector!
Compleberry? Yes, right in here.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. You told me to come right down, and it turns out that your suspicions were correct, sir.
They were.
Yes, he was murdered. It wasn't just an accidental pantyhose strangling. I'll tell you how, but I'm not sure you want me to tell it in front of the missus here.
I'm sorry, Elizabeth, but Cromsworth, I will need a full recounting of how you could be so kind.
Of course. Well, I looked underneath the ground where his body was. Not quite underneath the ground, underneath where he was on the ground. And I found a ticket stub. Yes, and on the ticket stub, there read, "Clandestine eating competition tonight, 7 p.m. And it was torn and dated for last night.
How peculiar, but how does that lead you to believe that he was murdered?
Oh, that's just the icing on the cake, sir. I'm sorry. You see, the real evidence that he was murdered was that I found a pin right through his aorta. One of those needles that you knit with, right through his aorta. That's the big one that bulges.
I see, yes, well, that would indeed kill a man.
Yes, it was buried quite deep, just below his skin, so he didn't look real close. It was all the way through. These are long needles. It was all the way through his neck, and into his chest cavity.
Cromsworth, that is quite enough, yes.
I'm not quite sure. I think maybe the staunching of the blood was achieved by use of the... Still all right, sir.
Yes, off with you, off with you.
Oh, Miss Marple, thank you so much for coming back. I'm terribly sorry that we were so rudely interrupted last time.
Timothy, my dear, anything for you.
I feel the need to unburden myself, and well, you're such a nice old friend.
You're so diplomatic, my dear boy. Go on.
You see, I was having an affair with Gertrude, the woman who barged in here the last time you came to call.
Oh, my dear.
There are a number of competitive eating events in this town that take place after hours, and, well, she's the referee. I accidentally found myself swept up into that world, and before I knew it, I was having a wild affair with her. Little did I know that not only does she make her money refereeing these events, she also makes her money via blackmail. We were intimate, and she photographed me. She then insisted that I bring her drugs that make one crazy and lead to wild flatulence. Every 2 weeks I was to deliver her drugs in some new strange place that smelled funny. The opening to the sewer grate, the fish market, a greasy
Dumpster.
yes.
Timothy.
Well, I'd run out of drugs. I was having a friend steal them for me, but I knew I couldn't get the drugs, and she was going to reveal my secret to my beloved Lucy. So I decided then and there I was going to confess. I was going to meet with Gertrude and tell her, this is over. I can bring you no more of those foul drugs. But when I arrived at the competitive eating spot, she was nowhere to be found. And when I got home that night, my beloved Lucy was murdered in our back garden.
Timothy, before Gertrude came in and interrupted us, you said something I did not forget, and that is that you think you know who murdered Lucy.
Yes, Miss Marple, that's what I'm trying to say. Who else was murdered? The doctor. That is where I was getting someone to steal the drugs from. Gertrude needs these pills for some reason, so badly she's willing to murder for them, Miss Marple. And I swear right now, as God is my witness, if I see Gertrude ever again, I shall end her.
If I ever see Gertrude again, I shall end her. Quite the threat, my friends. Well, what do you think? Another murder? No. Not yet, at least. Oh, dears, look at the time. My dears, why don't we all take a nice little break? Dear friends, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your nice little tea break. Yes. Well, oh good. Thank you so much for your affirmation, my lady. Well, dear friends, where were we? Well, I was of course visiting Timothy in his living room, at which point he was admitting his most sordid, salacious, and very unchristian affair, and accusing his mistress of murder. At which point Timothy said,
Miss Marple, if I ever see Gertrude again, I shall end her.
Well, immediately after that, oh, Timothy, don't be so childish.
But I mean it, Miss Marple. I tried to tell the police, but she has an alibi. Her brother.
Timothy?
Yes, Miss Marple.
I am absolutely disappointed in you.
But
I knew your mother and your father. Your father was the local pastor. Your mother, well, she nursed dying people in the war.
Oh, it was a moment of weakness, Miss Marple. And there she was in her black and white striped shirt, handing out chicken wings. I was overcome.
You have disappointed this town.
I've disappointed myself.
You've disappointed your dead wife.
Why twist the knife, Miss Marple? Please, you must help me. Why, I guarantee if you found her at this very moment, I'm sure she's probably up to the same thing. Why, she's probably blackmailing someone else as well.
Well, of course I will assist.
Thank you.
I will do everything in my power to gain justice.
Please do, Miss Marple. For if I shall ever see her again, I don't know what I might do.
Geoffrey, thank you so much for meeting me here at the garden club, dear.
You're very welcome, Richard.
As you know, you and my brother are pining after the same woman. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
Now, Geoffrey, have a bit of tea, or just a spot.
Gertrude, why am I here?
Do you remember, Geoffrey, what you told me when we were just in university? Just graduated, in fact. You came to me with quite a secret, did you not?
A secret that I told you in confidence.
Oh, Geoffrey. I think the time has come for people to know that you got a woman pregnant out of wedlock, and that you decided to put the child up for adoption. How do you think people have seen Mary Mead and look upon you? How do you think Elizabeth would look upon you?
They will not look upon me in any way because you shall not say a word.
Oh, Geoffrey, don't be so naive. I've got something on you, and I don't want you to forget it. Now you step off and you let my brother go after Elizabeth, and you be a good little boy now.
Why are you doing this? You used to be someone that I could trust.
Yes, well, that was before my diagnosis. Reverse psychosis.
I know what this is about, really. It is because I never showed the affection and love that you craved from me.
No, Jeffrey, that's not what it is.
That is exactly what it is.
Jeffrey, you're going to put me down into a spiral here if you bring up some things like that. You know it's not good for my health to bring up things of the past like that, Jeffrey.
You brought it up first. You wish to ruin my reputation here. That was a long time ago. It was a mistake that I had made, something that is deep into my heart, something that I do not wish anyone else to know about.
It was a mistake that you had the child or that you put it up for adoption?
Both.
Well, that child is 12 years old now. When do you think he's going to come around asking questions about his father? Well, I'll tell you something. I happen to have located the little Jeremy. I know where Jeremy is, and I think that it's only my duty to go and tell him who his father is, no?
You will do no such thing, Gertrude, for I am a very well-connected man, and I too can pose a threat upon you.
Jane! Thank you for meeting me in my office.
Detective Inspector?
Why, how fortuitous it is. Please take a seat. To find you. After working with you for so many years, I come upon this puzzling case and there you are, like always.
Yes, murder seems to follow me. I can't... Well, you know how it is. Murder, evil, a little town like St. Mary Mead. Well, it gives one everything that one needs to understand the human nature. And I seem to love investigating human nature.
That is quite right, Jane. Now, I have something direly important that I need to ask of you.
Yes, confess.
You see, before this case, I was investigating something a little less sinister, but cheating, a scandal amongst competitive eaters.
Oh, yes.
All of them are dirty, all of them injecting into their arms, trying to get the best jowls for swallowing, elongating their esophagi. It's disgusting.
I imagine it is. Do you find some sort of relation? I've heard the details of the first poor Lucy's murder.
I believe that this is all connected to the beef Wellington killer.
No.
The very same one that you helped me track down 5 years ago, who mysteriously escaped prison not 3 months ago.
Oh dear, we worked so hard on that one, chasing him after the cows and cutting up the steaks.
Yes. Well, it's my expert opinion that it is him, Mr. Wellington himself, who was behind all of this. It's very clear to me, unless you have another opinion.
Well, my dear, it's just that Mr. Wellington, he seemed a certain psychology that would, well, want to escape such a... If he escaped, that he would want to escape the country. Might you think it might be someone just a little bit closer? Someone who has motive, someone who has means. I have my suspicions. Why don't you let me work on this just a moment, and then we will reconvene and review. What do you think?
Jane, you are always a solid source of information, intelligence, and I trust you. Though I won't let go of my hunch, and I will be scouring this town for Mr. Wellington.
Jeremy,
Jeffrey,
do relax. Do sit down.
you taunt me even now. It is Jeffrey.
But you know why I said Jeremy, don't you?
Yes, of course. It is you are behind this.
Jeffrey.
I should have known.
Jeffrey, please, let me explain. You're correct. I spoke to Gertrude, and I asked Gertrude to find something about you that could derail you from this silly competition of ours. But when she came back to me and told me the truth, my first thought was not the thought of victory, nor was it the thought of Elizabeth. Jeffrey, it was the thought of our friendship. How could you do it, Jeffrey? How could you make such a silly, silly mistake?
I'm assuming you are referring to my son.
Yes, of course. I mean, we were in the abstinence club in college, Jeffrey.
It was a mistake. Passion came over me. She was a lovely girl. A woman with whom I never imagined I could feel such feelings. Christopher, I have to confess something. The reason why I gave that boy up for adoption and never spoke to the mother again was because I never imagined I could be a suitable father for any child. That's why I've never been with another woman since. For you see, Christopher, I too have been adopted.
You adopted?
Yes.
Well, then you above all should shrink from putting somebody else in that position.
You would assume so. But I was afraid. If my parents didn't want me, then something must have been terribly wrong with me. And I must be a terrible person.
Jeffrey.
I must have deserved this to happen to me.
Jeffrey.
Yes, I was brought up in opulence and my parents did care for me and love me. But even amongst my siblings, I always felt this distance, this competition that drove me fierce in life.
Jeffrey, this foolish little feud between us, let's put it aside. After all, surely the bond between two good friends is stronger than that between a man and a woman? Don't you think?
And what about Elizabeth?
Jeffrey? One of us shall find her. But in the meantime, I feel like a cad asking Gertrude to dig up such dirt about you, and I feel horrible for the pain that I've put you through. Can't you forgive me? Can't you forgive me, and can't we be chums again?
I have something else to tell you.
Oh, my God.
You see, Dr. Brown was someone with whom I confided in. Some of my deepest secrets, such as the one I have expressed to you, he had known about this. So, after that night, when Elizabeth seemed to be ravished by your generosity in helping me find the case solved, I decided to walk over to Dr. Brown's office. And just before entering, I heard Elizabeth inside with him. For you see, I feel and I think that those two were having relation.
Elizabeth and the doctor?
Yes.
Well, then that settles it, doesn't it? She's not for any of us. I say we put chums above love. What do you say?
Very well.
You know, I'll tell you something. For one thing, having you in my life again as a friend is more meaningful than I can ever express in words. And the other thing is, oh, Gertrude. Gertrude. I don't know how I ever thought to go to her and ask her to do such a horrible thing. It's growing up under her shadow, under her thumb. She's a wicked woman, you know, a wicked woman. And she brings out the evil in everybody.
Then you will tell her to not reveal the secrets about my life.
I'll try, but I warn you, Jeffrey, that once Gertrude is set upon a mission, it's as if some malicious incubus takes over, and nothing can call her back from the edge.
Well, she must.
Gertrude?
Oh, Miss Marple.
Oh, thank you so much for visiting me in my garden. Do you not like the new trellis?
It's just gorgeous.
Oh, yes.
Morning glories, are they not?
Of course. Oh, do have a seat.
Oh,
yes.
thank you.
Good It must have been very difficult for you to grow up with someone who commanded so much attention through her psychosis. You were always so quiet. You never picked up a word. And well, after she was gone, well, it
seems, Miss Marple, can I confide something in you?
Of course, my child.
It seems that her psychosis has come upon me in a way that I never expected. I feel downright crazy, Miss Marple, and the only thing that helps me is the medicine that I was able to get from Dr. Brown, but there's no more medicine in all of St. Mary Mead, and I feel myself going mad.
Oh dear. Yes, the crazy-inducing medicine, of course, and those with the truth psychosis, it has the opposite.
It's reversed, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, Miss Marple, I feel so good to get that off my chest.
Of course. Oh dear.
My mother, she was quite a dreadful woman. Oh, I remember when I was at my swim meet, I was just 7 years old, and my mother, she had a full-on psychotic breakdown. And there I was, I won, and my mama didn't even notice. Nobody noticed because there she was, on the floor, raving like a fool, like a lunatic. She never noticed anything, never noticed the most important things in my life. She was never there for me.
A poor child. And of course, well, in someone your position, you learned that you had to go to drastic measures to get someone's attention, did you not?
Afraid so. I'm not super proud of all the doings in my life, but I've done what I had to do. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't take the steps that I took in life to get here. I am a self-made woman. Miss Marple, you should understand.
Of course, my dear, I understand you modern girls. You have your ideas about being self-made. It's just, my dear, I just worry about you. Well, without your medicine, well, who knows what you might be capable of.
I'm afraid as well, Miss Marple. Honestly, I haven't admitted this to anyone, but I looked at myself in the mirror this morning at home, above the sink in the bathroom, and I just saw this horrible, ravaging person. She wasn't me. She wasn't me in the reflection. And I just don't know what to do, Miss Marple. I'm really worried. I'm afraid of what I will do.
I'm afraid of what I will do. Different. Yes, she was afraid. And in those words, after those words, well, our story finds another murder victim. But who do you think it was? My dear friends, which one of these folks was our final murder victim? Yeah. I heard Elizabeth. Yes, Elizabeth. The only solace was that her digestive issues came to a final resting. And her poor body was discovered like this.
Oh, Inspector! Inspector!
What is it now, Christopher?
It's poor Elizabeth. She's dead, Inspector. Yes, she's dead.
Under my watch, no less. Wellington!
Sorry. I can barely remember all the emotions coursing through my brain as I came across her. But you see, I had come to terms with Geoffrey. He and I were rivals over Elizabeth's love, and finally we had agreed to put our rivalry aside, and I felt, as the man of character that I am, I should go to Elizabeth at once and tell her that I no longer thought that I was necessarily the right man for her. Well, I went to her home, and and I heard the most beautiful singing, and I thought, oh dear, it was Elizabeth singing a charming air. The refrain I caught was, what was it? Oh yes, Walt and Matilda. But her voice sounded somehow different. It sounded as if maybe she had a laryngitis or a cough, for it didn't sound like the sweet dulcet tones that I'm so accustomed to hearing from her. Anyway, I thought, what better time when she is at a moment of joy to walk in and speak frankly to her. So her maid let me in. I went upstairs, but suddenly when I arrived at the door of the chamber where she was singing, I heard a horrible crash and a glass breaking and a shriek calling out. I rushed in, and there she was, poor Elizabeth, lying by the hearth with her eyes bulging, her fingers blue with oncoming death, and her knees knocking together in rigor mortis. I bent down to see if any breath lived in her heart, and with one giant fart, she died. I went to the window where the glass was shattered, and I swear, Inspector, I saw somebody running away off through the park, and yet I could not make sight of who it was.
Do you think, Christopher, that perhaps the person that you heard singing that Walt and Matilda ditty was not in fact Elizabeth but someone else?
Do you mean that the man who killed her was singing the song and ran off through the window after strangling her before I came in?
It could very well be true, and you said there was a coffin, yes?
Yes.
Well, the only person I heard coughing, well, I ran across your sister, Gertrude. She had quite a cough, but it could be her because, why, she was not the Wellington murderer.
Well, you think it might be my sister, or you don't think it might be my sister?
Do you think it was your sister, Christopher?
I'll tell you something, Inspector, but you must promise that if I tell you this, and it proves to have no bearing on the case, that you won't breathe it to a soul.
I will be confidential with the information so long as it is not pertinent.
Well, you see, Gertrude and I grew up, of course, in the same home, and with the same parents, and yet our experience of those parents were quite different. You see, it was very clear from a very early age that Mama favored me. I don't know why. I didn't do anything special to garnish her affection, and yet there was something she just didn't like about Gertrude. And as menacing and cruel and neglectful as she was towards Gertrude, well, she was just as loving and supportive and kind to me. I saw poor Gertrude in just this disdain, day after day after day, and I saw that sweet, beautiful girl turn into something quite hideous. One day, when she was only 9 years old, I went out to the tennis courts where she and I were supposed to have a lesson that day. The tennis instructor was not there, but there was Gertrude, and with the wire that one uses to string a tennis racket, she had strangled a kitten.
For what reason?
She said out loud, "I kill you because I can." And then she said, Well, I ran away at once, and I never breathed a word of this. But deep in my heart, I always suspected that she was capable of something far worse than the petty crimes and blackmails and drug deals and export-import businesses of the shady character that she used to put herself through university. I always thought she might be capable of murder.
Christopher, there was a case that I covered years back about the death of your friend Jeffrey's parents, who I understand were very well off and in fact would cater to you and your sister.
Yes. His adoptive parents.
His adoptive parents, yes. What were their names, if I might ask for my records?
Fred and Ethel.
Fred
And Ethel.
and Ethel. Very well, okay. What was Gertrude's relationship with Fred and Ethel?
Why, they were in fact quite kind to her in a way that her own mother never was.
How did that make you feel?
All right. All right. You seem to have pierced into my breast, Inspector, so I'll come out with it. I was always envious of Gertrude. Yes, it may be true that my mother favored me, but everybody else favored Gertrude. Gertrude, of course, was too busy swimming in her own mania to realize it. But even the tennis coach favored Gertrude. She was always bigger than me, always stronger than me, always ruling me with her. Always ruling me with that despotic, evil nature of hers. And all I wanted was for her to love me. Why? Why didn't she love me, Inspector?
Why didn't she love me? Can you guess, my dears, why his sister might not love him?
He was a huge Bruce Springsteen fan.
My dear, that predates 1957. Webbed toes. He has webbed toes and she's disgusted by this. Okay.
But she didn't love me. And do you know why?
Well, I have a guess, considering that Jeffrey was on the rowing team and you were on the swimming team.
Yes! Yes, I was born with webbed toes! Every day, I would go to her and say, please, please, I don't know why Mama doesn't love you as she loves me, but I love you. And she would simply look at me and call me Webby.
It's not even clever.
I know!
Well, after all you've told me, Christopher, I think that your sister might be behind this.
No, she can't. I promise you, Inspector, that deep down beneath that hard crust of criminal patina, there's a good heart, I promise you. Please.
Oh, Catherine. Oh, thank you so much for coming to my parlor. Please, sit down. Oh, Catherine, as you are my only friend here in St. Mary Mead.
A new friend, too.
Something
Not that long we've been friends.
It's true. I'm so lucky you came into my life. Now, I have something to tell you, Catherine. It's a little troubling. So, I haven't been able to take my medicine. And when I don't take my medicine, well, I just feel a little, out of sorts. And part of the side effects of me not having my medicine is I tend to have these blackouts, and I just can't remember things. And whole days will pass, and oh God, Catherine, I'm so terrified I did something terrible. What if I did?
It's most likely you did, darling.
You think so?
I really think that you should search your conscience for why you might have murdered these people.
What? What are you saying? Catherine, no, I'm not a murderer. I mean, deep down.
Look at you, you're out of sorts.
No.
You're completely beyond control of your senses.
Well, it's Webby! My brother Webby, he put me up to this. That stupid webbed foot, mother-loving boy. Oh, yes. I mean, that man is it's his fault. Catherine, you've got to help me. I've got to get out of town.
I think you should go and talk to Miss Marple.
No, I did, and that was a bad idea. Miss Marple, she thinks I'm just a murderer now, and I don't think I'm a murderer, but I need help.
How would you know, my darling? How would you know? You're saying that you have these crazy fits. You're saying you have no medication.
Yes.
My darling, I think perhaps you should confess.
Am I a murderer?
Catherine, with her very cool cover, is covering some kind of motivation. Why would she be so cold? Why would she be so encouraging of a friend to admit to murder when a friend does not even remember? Can you guess? Why would Catherine do that? Oh, we don't know that yet, my friends. Okay? She's a cat lover.
I mean, my darling, I can barely speak of the fact that you used to strangle cats. Do you remember when you would take the tennis catgut and strangle them? My darling, you've been a murderer since day one.
That was years ago. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not. I've taken medication. I've gone to therapy. I am before my time to go to therapy. And I've done everything, Catherine. You have to help me. I'm desperate.
I'm afraid I can't, darling.
No, please.
I can't help a murderer. That would be against the law. I would be an accessory after the fact.
Just a bit of money. I just need to catch a train. I want you to see me ever again. No one will see me. Oh, please. Catherine, I know deep down I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I didn't.
Darling, you're quite beside yourself. I think I should let you be alone.
Detective Inspector General.
Detective Inspectors, just fine.
I fear I must tell you something before I resign.
Resign?
I am too close to this, you see. Lucy was my sister. The pretty one.
That can't be. You two don't look anything alike.
That's just the point. She's always been the pretty one in the family, the smart one. She had the big boobs. I got this. I fear I may be a suspect, you see, which I cannot do my job anymore. I fear because everybody to me is a suspect right now. I think it was her husband. I think it was...
Gillsby!
Sorry, what are you doing here? Do you have the news I have? I needed to tell you the report of the first murder of the week came, and there had been a burglary at Dr. Brown's office.
A burglary?
A burglary.
A burglary?
Yes, his pharmaceuticals, all stolen.
Dear. Including the crazy pills?
Yes, most definitely the crazy pills. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Hope you feel better.
Oh, Inspector.
That woman. Can't believe she lost her arm in that terrible sawing accident. The seesaw went up, and then it went down, and her arm... Listen, Buttlesworth. Your sister was murdered, yes.
Yes.
And you are a police officer well on your way to one day having my role as detective inspector.
I am just too close. I think that Elizabeth did it. I think Timothy did it. I think the dead doctor did it. I might have done it. I don't know.
Don't be saying these things. Listen, there's only so many people in this town and only 3 of us on the force working this case. I simply cannot have you resign. And I'll tell you why.
Why? Give me one good reason why I should stay.
Because your sister was a beautiful, smart, intelligent woman and her murderer deserves to be caught, and you are the one to do it.
I shall do it then.
You shall, so take this back. I reject your resignation.
Let us find the killer of my beautiful sister. I shall stay on then.
Thank you for coming.
Geoffrey?
Pour you some tea.
Oh, please do. I'm quite parched. Geoffrey, I came as soon as you asked.
Yes, well, our whole town seems to be going to hell. With all these murders happening. 3!
Yes, of course.
I do not know what is happening here.
It's hell.
I feel that karma has a way of finding justice, does it not?
Yes, I've heard of this thing, karma, from the Indian tradition. It's quite blasphemous and unchristian, but they have something. They're right in one way. Whatever you do, action you make, it binds you. And so if you have done illegal things, if you have done immoral things, if you have broken any vows, of course this will one day come back and hurt you.
Yes. Jane, I have something I must tell you. I fear that my parents' death, well, I killed them. You see, I was 16 years old. It was my birthday. A beautiful day, actually. My parents set up a wonderful party for me. All my friends were there, and my family, and their friends. It was a great extravaganza because I was turning 16. And everything went smoothly, and after everyone had left, my parents called me into their study. And it was then when they had told me that I had been adopted. They said, "You are old enough now to know the truth, but that does not mean we do not love you any less." But of course, you can imagine at such a young age, I was taken aback by this. Why tell me now? Why not wait until I was older? Why on the day of my birthday, after such a lovely day? So I stormed out of their room. I was beside myself with anger, and they went off to bed. And I came back into the living room. I grabbed the statue on the mantelpiece and I threw it into the fireplace. And apparently, some of the embers have fallen out because of my action. Then I stormed out of the house that night, never wanted to come back. And next, of course, I hid in town and would walk around until almost daylight. And I decided to go back home, and that's when I found that the house had burned down with them inside.
Oh, Geoffrey.
It was my fault.
Oh, Geoffrey, this is horrid. I remember that fire. Oh, but it was an accident, Geoffrey.
But karma has come around to this town, and it is because of my ill doing.
Geoffrey, you are being hurt, but it is only if you believe you were hurting others, well, then that would be karma. Would it not? Have you hurt others?
No, of course not.
Willingly, knowingly, no.
I have a son, Jeremy.
Oh, dear Geoffrey.
I abandoned him. Now it's all out. Now perhaps I've cleared myself of any
But, my dear, I
suspicion.
don't believe that's how karma works. Karma comes back and hurts the person who has inflicted harm, not the whole town.
Jane, I need to speak to you at once.
Oh, yes. Geoffrey, I am so sorry to hear this. Your heart must be breaking, but I leave you. This was not your fault.
Very well.
I have something that I have to tell you. The Beef Wellington killer was found today in the Bahamas enjoying his life. He was not the one behind this.
Well, of course not, dear. Of course not.
But I think I found our culprit. And I have no doubt about it. It is Gertrude.
Oh. You suspect Gertrude?
I don't just suspect. I know it to be her. She is a pathological murderer. She's been murdering since her childhood days, killing innocent animals. She's, by all the evidence collected by my officer, she's gone off the rails. She's psychotic. I think she's the one behind all of this.
Well, my dear, if you believe she's the one, I think we should go to her. I believe she's with her brother. We should go speak to the two of them right now.
Yes, they are at that fish pie competition in the audience.
Okay, let's go find them.
Gertrude, I can't believe in the midst of all of this you're still insistent upon refereeing this contest.
I am committed to my job.
Gertrude, listen to me. I know that you broke into the doctor's office and stole those drugs.
Me? No. Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do.
Listen to me.
Yes.
You know how you've been suffering from blackouts. You know how you can barely remember one day from the other.
Yes, yes.
Gertrude, you are the murderer.
Yes, that's right, Jane. There we have it.
No, I'm not capable. Those days are behind me.
Oh, she hears voices in her head, does she not?
Look, she's guilty. She's already in black and white, just like a prisoner should be.
I'm just a referee. I'm just a referee.
It's all right, Gertrude. It's all right. We must let justice take its course, mustn't we, Miss Marple?
Of course, Christopher, we must let justice take its course. And of course, Detective Inspector, you will arrest him, will you not?
What? Arrest me? Whatever are you talking about?
For what purpose?
Well, he was behind the murders. Unfortunately, my dear, I do believe you were the one murdering, but you were being manipulated by your brother.
What?
All right, well, it appears the gig is up. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. I've been pulling the strings, just the way you pulled the strings around that cat. Just the way you pulled the strings around my life. Well, I shall be Webby no more! That's right!
Always be Webby, just rotting away in prison!
Oh, how sweet it was to watch it all come together. First, the very first murder I committed was Lucy. Sweet Lucy, who was dominating all the time with Elizabeth. How was I supposed to make my romantic advances if Lucy was constantly talking to her? So, out of my way. But then it turned out that sweet Elizabeth, my love, was having an affair with the doctor.
My fish pie!
Yes, the doctor! And so, he too had to go, and I killed him. But then, finally, I realized that all of this was causing me to hurt my own dear friendship, and I was losing my humanity, losing myself and becoming a hideous, warped, evil creature like you. And so, in order to reclaim my humanity, I had to kill the person who brought me to this state, Elizabeth! Oh, that was good.
You see, Detective Inspector, I always suspected him. He reminded me of the butcher's boy. The butcher's boy, yes. He had a bit of a sadistic streak, that one. He had a glimmer in his eye, and every time he would come into the fish pie office, he would manipulate the vendor to give him what he wanted for free.
How sweet it was! manipulating you and pulling the strings on you like a puppet as one by one you did my ghastly bidding.
Watch your back in jail, Webby!
Miss Marple, here's some of the pills we had on him. You said to keep an eye out for him.
Yes.
For you know,
Yes.
his poor
He
sister.
He was depriving you of your medication so that you could be crazy and black out and not remember that you were committing murder.
Oh, how could I have ever accused you, Gertrude?
It's okay.
I'm very sorry, Jane, but Gertrude will have to go as well.
I understand.
Fumblesworth!
No.
Tiddlesby!
No, please don't make me. No.
I'm sorry. You'll have to take her away too.
I just need psychiatric help. I don't need to be locked up. This is our system. This is our system.
I've got Mallory outside.
Catherine, I'm sorry, but would you give me some time alone with Jane?
But of course, poor Gertrude.
That was horrible to do that in front of this entire audience. Here for simple fish pie eating competition.
Detective Inspector, you did a great job.
Jane, I couldn't have done it without you. I was off my rock at first. I thought it was a man who was in the Caribbean, and next well, I was somewhat right, but I didn't even put the connection together that red-foot scoundrel was behind us all.
Oh, don't worry your head over this. You are a wonderful investigator. One day, you will get it all on your own.
Indeed I will, but till then, I will call upon you, Miss Jane Marple, because your intelligence knows no equal.
Thank you. And so, my friends, Geoffrey and Timothy had their final bid and adieu together as well.
Please.
Geoffrey, my old Oxford chum. I can't believe it was that foul cur Christopher all along.
Neither can I.
You remember him from our Oxford days? You remember when you and I tried to form the Absinthe Club and he misheard over the sound of his flopping feet and thought we were trying to form the Abstinent
I
Club?
never had an opportunity. It was actually quite amusing. Where
It was.
You and I would go about and have our ways, and he would just be in his room crying all night.
Yes. What a fool.
Well, it's interesting and tragic, but things have turned out
That's right. You know,
sort of in our favor.
yes, I'm happy to hear that you're reconciling with your son. And
Yes, I am.
I know that, well, Gertrude used to be friends with Fred and Ethel, but for me, I always loved Lucy. And I shall treasure her memory and, well, I shall comfort myself in the night by singing that old ballad we used to sing at Oxford, Walt and Matilda. Would you do me the honors, old friend?
Absolutely. Upon my day, I know that life will be the best moments of our lost virginity. Walt and Matilda were wed many years ago, and now we shall be bachelors, for our love both said no.
Dear friends, with that ode to Walt and Matilda, our story does not end in horror. I mean, yes, it does. But we have two bachelors, well, who are quite eligible now, I must say, and they are making all the ladies' hearts flutter, and so our story ends well. And thank you for being patient during this time with us. That's the end.